Good evening, everyone. It's time for your weekly update and walkthrough. So if you'll go to your Forensics 1 course page, you'll notice at the top there's a brand new green folder. I haven't published it yet, so it looks kind of faded out, but as soon as I get through making this update, I'll publish it and you can go ahead and get an early start on activities if you would like to. So you're going to open up the new folder. Obviously, at the top are the directions. You'll want to get in there and read those. I've got the activities like last week in separate folders. And so this is an overview of all of the instructions. Reading them will help maybe minimize some of the questions that you may have. So definitely get in there and read those instructions. Back to the main folder, activity number 1 this week is a lab. And if we were in class together, we would have done, a really fun lab where we would use basically ink that would not damage your shoes to make a shoe print of your shoes. And then there was a lab activity that went with that called Hungry for Pizza, where you were investigating who robbed a pizza store. But I was afraid to have you put paint on your shoes or something on your shoes that might damage them. Didn't feel you'd be really into that. So there's a substitute lab in its place. So you're going to open up the lab information. And there's a background section to read. There's a description of the crime and then what your responsibility is for the lab. And then there are 3 suspect shoe prints. So you're going to look at those. And then below that, is the criminal's shoe print. So basically, you're trying to match the criminal's shoe print to one of the 3 suspects. And that's not particularly difficult to do. But then with that is a lab report. And so again, if you see this little sign, don't be concerned. All you need to do is click on the title or click on the pop-out box to the right, and it should open right up, and you'll need to make a copy. By the way, that's to prevent you from changing my original. And so basically then there are questions about the background. And then your job is to fill out this data table. So basically you're going to provide 3 pieces of data that you observed and used to help you come to the conclusion as to who committed the crime. So maybe on one of the suspect shoes, you noticed that the tread pattern was different. So you're going to write tread pattern, and then you're going to identify in general with regard to shoe prints, is tread pattern class evidence or is it individual evidence? And then the last 2 questions, basically you're confirming who you think committed the crime and what was the most useful piece of evidence. Was it the tread pattern? Was it the size? Was it the style of shoe, etc., that helped you make your choice? So that should be a relatively quick assignment to do. And then you're going to upload your Google Doc on this submission page. And you folks have been doing a really good job with that. So I probably don't need to open that up and show you how to do that, because so far, everybody again seems to be doing that with not a great difficulty aspect to it. So should be good to go on that. Back to the main folder. Activity number 2 is an Ed puzzle. And so you're going to watch the video about Britain's crime scene school, and they're focusing on footprints. And so you're going to complete the Ed puzzle. There's nothing to submit. The Ed puzzle will sync automatically with Schoology. I just need to remind you that you need to get an 80% or better on the Ed puzzle. And then if you do not, I'll need to reset you so you can try it again. So take your time. You can pause the video. There's a rewatch button toward the bottom of your screen where it should allow you to go back and rewatch that segment of the video if you are unsure about the answer. So it's only about a 7-minute video. Again, don't hurry through. And then activity number 3 is a review, because we're going to have a test on Monday over shoe prints. So I've got options for you this week. You can pick what you would like to do, what best suits your learning style. There's a typical or a more traditional test review guide that is on this Google form. Let me open that up. And again, make a copy. And so there are, I think, 15 questions. So it's not a whole lot of information. And you're just going to answer directly on the Google Doc. I'll tell you what, those of you who used a different color font for your answers made my day. The grading was so much easier that way. So if you could do that again, or if you didn't do that the first time around, just use a different color. You can change the font color right here. When you give your answers, that would be absolutely fantastic. Very helpful for me. So you can answer on the Google Doc. Let me go back to the folder and then submit it on this page. Now, I will say this, I have been correcting everyone's work. I don't know if you're aware of that or if you're seeing that, but in the grade book, there'll be a little comment bubble below the grade where you were given your work average. And so if you'll open up those comments, I will correct your answers if you miss anything. And that way you won't just be then studying things that are not right. That would not be probably very good for your test score. So make sure that you look at the comments that I made. Now, if that's not your cup of tea and you'd rather do something that you might think might be more fun, I put together basically an equivalent form, but turned it into a GIM kit. So if you open up the GIM kit, put your name, please put your first and last name, simply because I have, a lot of Taylors in a given class. And so I won't be then trying to figure out who did the GIM kit, but put your first and last name and then join. Oops, sorry, got to put my first and last name. Let me do that. Well, never mind. You all can put your first and last name and then join. And then the GIM kit will take you through the review. I have the GIM kit set up where you can play it for up to 20 minutes or reach the money value of $300,000, whichever comes first. But again, you don't have to do both. But if you choose to do both, I would be so willing to give extra credit. So again, you're either going to do the review or you're going to do the traditional review, or you're going to do the GIM kit review. If you decide to do both, you will earn extra credit. And I haven't decided yet whether to make the extra credit separate or put it on your test. But either way, we are having a test on Monday, and you do need to kind of start preparing and getting ready for that. So that is what you're doing this week. Again, activity 1 is a shoe print lab. Activity 2 is a video with an accompanying ed puzzle. And activity 3 is your choice of review to get ready for Monday's test. And the last thing that I wanted to talk with you about is if you are behind on activities, and I've now put missing in the grade book, and I only do that so that you can see what the missing assignments will negatively do to your grade. But you are still able to go back and make up any missing work for no grade penalty. So don't think it's over just because I put a missing symbol in and the activity is now counting as a 0. Anything can be made up for no grade penalty. So as of tomorrow morning, which is Monday, I'm going to put in missing for last week's assignments. Again, I just think it's important that you see what zeros do to your grade, but feel free to make up any work that you may have gotten behind on. I just have one favor to ask of you. If you're going back and doing work from the beginning of the remote learning, you might want to notify me that you did that assignment, because sometimes it doesn't automatically update in the grade book. I have to go in and manually do that. And it's difficult for me to see when you've done something for a past activity in the grade book. So just please, either through Schoology messaging or through a quick email, just let me know that you went back and did an activity from the past. So I hope you have a good week. I hope everybody's staying healthy, and I'll be checking back in with you later in the week with another video update just to make sure that all is going well. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me.